her as confused and emotional and manic. The officers didn't file any charges, but suggested the couple separate for the night.
Yes, they had a disturbance. Yes, it was captured on body camera, their interaction with law enforcement. But beyond that, I don't know what it has to do with the disappearance.
It all began on July 2nd when the couple set out from New York in Gabby's converted white 2012 Ford Transit van with Florida plates. Their plan, according to police, was to drive all the way to Yellowstone National Park, but they never made it. We've also learned Gabby was reportedly last seen at this Salt Lake City hotel on August 24th. That same day, the family's attorney says she FaceTimed with her mom, telling her she was leaving Utah and heading to the Grand Tetons. The following day, Gabby texted multiple times with her mom, likely from the Grand Tetons. On August 30th, a final text from Gabby's phone, though the attorney says her family doubts she actually wrote it. Then on September 1, her fiancé showed up at the home he and Gabby shared with his parents in Northport, Florida, in Gabby's white van. 10 days later, on September 11th, Gabby's family reported her missing.
2 people went on a trip, 1 person returned, and that person that returned isn't providing us any information.
Gabby's family is desperate for answers.
Whatever you can do to make sure my daughter comes home, I'm asking for that help. There's nothing else that matters to me now. This girl right here, this is what matters. That is it.
Brian Laundrie, Gabby's fiancé, isn't talking. He's hired a lawyer and has not spoken with Gabby's family or police. His own sister told ABC she hasn't even spoken with her brother.
All I want is for her to come home safe and sound, and this to be just a big misunderstanding.
Cassie Laundrie told ABC her brother and Gabby had been known to fight.
Typical of both of them, whenever they fight, they will take a little break and come back and be fine.
The FBI in Denver has also joined the search, aiding FBI and local authorities in Wyoming and Utah. But as the hours and days tick by, the search for answers grows, and doubts are beginning to creep in.
My gut tells me that something bad happened. And I'm never going to be able to hold my baby girl again.
Right now, it is still a missing person investigation, since police have no evidence of a crime.
We don't know what happened. We don't know where she's at. We don't know if a crime's been committed.
Randy Kay, CNN, Northport, Florida.
And I want to bring in former Baltimore acting police commissioner and CNN law enforcement analyst Anthony Barksdale. Also joining us, CNN legal analyst Joey Jackson. Thank you both for coming on tonight to talk about this. We are waiting for the FBI's press conference, so we may have to interrupt this segment. But let's just kick it off with you, Anthony. If this is indeed Gabby's body, this case changed significantly.
Hey, folks, you're watching CNN, and we're going to have the press conference in a second. So one moment, please.
I pray that it's not, but let's be realistic. This is Gabby, then that gives police something to work with. The forensics part of this then becomes crucial. You can establish how the homicide occurred. You can collect other evidence, possibly DNA, and get to work changing it from a missing person to a homicide investigation.
It's just agonizing. You have to imagine for the family, Joey, with this latest news and not knowing. And of course, we do expect an update soon, but it's just such a difficult situation. If this is Gabby Petito, and we do not know, does this give police probable cause to arrest her fiance Brian Laundrie as a suspect? Of course, he is missing right now, but if they are able to locate him alive, should he be arrested as a suspect?
There's no question. And Pamela, I know, good evening too. If you have to interrupt me, by all means, I know we're going to the press conference. This is a game changer, as you noted, and with respect to them finding the body, understand that in order for the police to make an arrest, you don't need to demonstrate someone's guilty. You don't need to demonstrate that they absolutely did anything. You just need reason to believe that a crime was committed, and the person who's being accused and arrested is the one you believe to have done it. So without question, that would give them the probable cause to go and arrest him. There'll be some will be a treasure trove of information, not only as to DNA, but potentially cause of death, right? When the forensic examiners and they do an autopsy on the body, they'll be able to determine how she died, right? They'll be able to make other assessments as to evidentiary issues concerning the state of the body, which we don't know, right? But I think that'll be very important. In addition to that, Pamela, briefly, remember here, we have that digital blueprint, right? There's so much evidence that is circumstantial. It doesn't have to be direct. In many cases, yes, you have 3 or 4 eyewitnesses who say the person in the blue shirt did it. In other cases, law enforcement has to piece it together by the nature and circumstances. This was a cross-country trip, and there was a digital blueprint on Instagram. It showed who she was with, what they were doing, everything, right, cataloging the trip. At some point, it stopped. The question becomes why? What were the circumstances that led it to stop? What did her text messages say? What did any triangulation of the phone lead them to the location where they found her? There's going to be a lot of information brought to bear, and he, Pam, to end this, right, will now go from a person of interest, he being Mr. Laundrie, the person who accompanied her, from a person of interest to a defendant in a criminal case.
And Anthony, this is a massive national park, 310,000 acres where this body was found. Does it seem like perhaps some more information may have come in to direct researchers to this specific location?
I believe so, and I'm going to go back to what Joey was saying. He's spot on with his assessment. So when you have something like this, you can rely on technology. Cell phone records, you can track cell phones. So there are a lot of things with technology that could help police figure out where someone is or where they were. So yeah, that's a lot of territory to have a search, but I think that it's wonderful somehow law enforcement use what they have at hand to locate this body.
And how does this change the search for Brian Laundrie, Anthony? As Joey just pointed out, this clearly could be a game changer if this indeed is Gabby Petito's body. How would that affect the search for him?
This goes from a boyfriend to a suspect. That's a big difference. Law enforcement then can pour it on. You can get the marshals involved. You already got the FBI. You have every jurisdiction looking for Mr. Laundrie, and whether or not this is easy, it has to be done. We've got to find them.
What do you make, Joey, of Laundrie's family? Apparently he had left on Tuesday, but they did not report to the police. We're going to the press conference now. Let's listen in.
Good afternoon. My name is Charles Jones. I'm the Supervisory Senior Resident Agent here in Wyoming for FBI Denver. Standing with me here today are Acting Chief Ranger Matt Wilbur with the National Park Service, Hunter Bailey, who is Chief of the National Park Service Investigative Services Branch. We also have Teton County Sheriff Matt Carr and Jackson Police Chief Michelle Weber. First and foremost, on behalf of the FBI personnel and our partners, I would like to extend sincere and heartfelt condolences to Gabby's family. Joe and Tara Petito and Jim and Nicole Schmidt. As every parent can imagine, this is an incredibly difficult time for the family and friends. Our thoughts and prayers are with them. We ask that you all respect the privacy as they mourn the loss of their daughter. As you are aware, FBI personnel, in coordination with our partners at National Park Service, the Forest Service, Teton County Sheriff's Office, and Jackson Police Department, have been conducting an investigative activity in the vicinity of the Spread Creek dispersed camping area. Earlier today, human remains were discovered, consistent with the description of Gabby Petito. Full forensic identification has not been completed to confirm 100% that we found Gabby, but her family has been notified of this discovery. The cause of death has not been determined at this time. Patients. The public until further notice. This is an active and ongoing investigation, so we ask everyone maintain distance from law enforcement personnel and equipment, vehicles, and related activity for their own safety, as well as to protect the integrity of our work and respect privacy for Gabby's family. We appreciate the tremendous support from the public. The support from the public's response to requests of tips has been remarkable. We continue to seek information from anyone who utilized the Spread Creek dispersed camping area between the dates of August 27th and August 30th. Anyone that may have had contact with Gabby or her boyfriend, or who may have seen their vehicle in that area. Please share any new information with the FBI at tips.fbi.gov or 1-800-CALL-FBI. And finally, the Denver Field Office Direct is 303-629-7171. Photos and videos can also be uploaded at fbi.gov/Petito. We thank our partners at the National Park Service, the U.S. Forest Service, Teton County Sheriff's Office, and Jackson Police Department for their collaboration and diligence in this investigation. They surged their resources in a very short amount of time, and their personnel have intimate knowledge of the rugged terrain that we're dealing with, which made this process much more difficult. We greatly appreciate the invaluable skill and expertise of the Teton County Search and Rescue Team. We also thank the community of Jackson and the surrounding areas for the hospitality and for accommodating a rapid influx of law enforcement personnel in the area. In order to protect our investigative process and increase probability of successful prosecution should it be necessary, we have no additional comments. We appreciate your cooperation and respect for Gabby's family, loved ones, during this difficult time. Thank you.
Why you led to that kind of side in particular?
It's an ongoing investigation, sir, and not answered, unfortunately.
So they didn't.
We just heard a very sad update from the FBI there that human remains have been discovered consistent with the description of Gabby Petito in Grand Teton. We just heard there from the agent that the cause of death has not been determined at this time. They are waiting for final confirmation that what they found, the body, the human remains, that is indeed Gabby Petito. But as we just heard there from the FBI, the remains discovered are consistent with the description of Gabby Petito, and her family has been notified about this. Our hearts, our thoughts are with her family during this incredibly difficult time. I want to bring back Joey Jackson and Anthony Barksdale, given this significant development that we just heard there, Joey.
Yeah, Pamela, this is very significant in so many particulars, but let's begin with one that's very important. We know that the boyfriend apparently came back home to Florida. He came back home in her absence. And then the questions began. At that point, she was considered missing. We know also, Pam, the police wanted to speak to him. He has a right to remain silent under the Fifth Amendment. He exercised that right, even as a person of interest, and therefore did not speak. In the absence of any information that he would have given the police that could have narrowed down where she was, we have top law enforcement, of course, the federal government, in addition to other agencies which assisted them, that got the body. Now that we're here, he goes from a person of interest to a criminal defendant. Make no mistake about it, this now goes from a missing persons investigation to a homicide investigation. That now gives the police the ability to go and get him. We also know, Pam, that he apparently is missing or is hiding or some such thing. We don't know his exact location. There's an imperative for law enforcement to find him. Last point. Remember that the police, in order to make this arrest, do not need every shred of information that would indicate his guilt. They just need reason to believe that a crime was committed. They have that, and that he's the one that committed it. In making that assessment, they're going to use all types of circumstantial evidence, which would indicate he was potentially the last person to see her alive. And if that allegation holds up, you know what? Why is he on the of innocence, but boy, oh boy, does this look like it's pointing in his direction as to a nefarious act.
I want to just go to you to get your thought.
Yeah, I just want to say something, folks. In the way this was handled, they were really, really, really supportive. This says, damn, even the police are caps for Western women without any evidence. He clearly did it well. Well, the thing about it is that what stuns me is the police found them. Apparently they had some kind of argument, and they just sort of let them go without digging deeper to find out what the problem really was. I mean, they gave them all the benefit of the doubt and gave her boyfriend all the benefit of the doubt without really grilling him. And I have to say this, there is a racial double standard. If he had been black and she white, they would have investigated him a lot further. They may even have arrested him on suspicion of doing harm to her while she was there. And if she had said no, that would have stopped them, right? But there's a lot of leeway here that police take, and they'll say, well, we need to check this out or detain him because according to you, he hit you and all that sort of thing, right? But they didn't do that because they were a young white couple that looks like they're models or something, all right? And that's disgusting. So now, even when he went back home and didn't talk to anybody, and the parents said he doesn't want to talk, that should have told law enforcement something right then, and boom, they should have issued a warrant for his arrest on the spot, okay? On the spot. That should have been a no-brainer. Instead, we have this stuff going on. And too much of our society today is contaminated by the racism that people have in them to not treat a situation as it should be treated. And that's really coming to bear in a number of cases, from this one to sports, you name it. We are so screwed up about race that we've let it damage our society. And we have to stop it. And this is another example of it. You have a woman that should have been protected, right? But wasn't. And you have some people who are saying, okay, why? What's going on? Why is this on television and everything? I'll tell you why it's on television. Because they're part of a generation that I've been involved in now for almost 2 decades that uses social media and uses video to show their lives and talk, which becomes entertainment for other people. And there's this meme among the mainstream media that people who do that have to be blonde and female or white and male. And they fit the bill right on cue, okay? And the media acted like it. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. Now this fellow's on the run. He's not running because he wants a deep dish pizza in Chicago and he can't get one in Florida. He's running because he doesn't want to be found guilty of doing something. And Aaron Blaylock says it's the privilege people don't want to see or admit to. Well, here's the thing, Aaron. I mean, look, admitting to privilege, yes, so what? I know that. Everybody knows that. Big deal about the privilege. My point is how you treat people as human beings. You don't just slop it off and say, well, they have privilege and they get away with it. No one should get away with that. I don't care what they look like, okay? The simple fact that we say that, and that's what's become a social media discussion. Oh, they have privilege. Yeah, okay, so? Tell me something I haven't known since I was born, And it's... Right, that's what I'm saying. Nobody should have privilege. Exactly, no one should have privilege. But we sort of let this be out there rather... Right. prosecute this dude right now instead of dragging their feet. And that's my mom over there talking. But my whole point is, it's awful. You know, this is an awful, and Aaron, I'm not yelling at you. You're absolutely right, okay? It is upsetting. And to have this, happen because of the nature of the way that we do media today, an event that, I hate to say it, another time we never would have known about, which shows you the luxury of social media in a sense, right? The beauty of it, that we can take an individual event between two people and it becomes a national event. That's where we are right now today in society. The national event right now, as far as I'm concerned, has shifted to Mr. Laundry. We need to take out the laundry. We got to find the laundry to take out the laundry. That's where we're at, all right? So, wow. Please add your comments in the comment section. Thank you, and subscribe to Zenny62 and bookmark oaklandnewsnow.com.